Okay, hi, welcome back to Spirit Lounge. I hope you guys are doing really well. And the next installment of the Nag Hammadi text. This one was a very broken passage, but I skipped some of it because it goes into words and syllables. Let's move into the slide deck. Okay, this chapter is called Marsanes. Now, it's a heavily damaged chapter. Near the end, a few of the passages are so fragmented you couldn't make out what the message was, so it had to be skipped. It's a dialogue from a prophet and a mystic called Marsanes to a small group that he leads. And he indoctrinated himself into the Sethian Gnostic philosophies. And he does talk, the text does go into other aeons, Martiades and Marsianos, who come down to earth and talk of the powers, and also speaks of Gamaliel and Barbelo itself, Gamaliel also passing on knowledge. Composed of his own experience and also the theological, metaphysical doctrine of Sethianism mixed with his own experience. His experience here is his spiritual experience of ascent, not his actual ascent. It's very similar to Zostrianos as well. It's very similar to that in some ways. Okay, because he also poses questions as well that need answers from the Aeonic realm. Okay, so it does talk about 13 seals, and I want to just discuss these 13 seals now. So, seals, these are the 13 seals, and going down. So this is this is the invisible. Let's start from the bottom here because it starts and work ourselves up. Excuse me. So seal 1 is the first corporeal and physical material. And this is those who this is the very, 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 very brutally physical aspects of ourselves. The physical body, the material realm, things that we can touch and that make noise. This is the realm, and this is our aspect of us if those who are brutally assigned and identified with just the body. The second is still corporeal, and a sublunar realm, which I guess is moving a little bit further away from their physical. The third is non-corporeal, but I don't think that's the case because you still are in physical body, so that's really corporeal still, but sensible and planetary spheres. So this is someone who's potentially knows about sin, doesn't commit acts and doesn't go against their own conscience, and I suppose is starting to understand astrology to some ways. If this is a planetary spheres, must be about these are the planets within our solar system, and the moon and the sun. The sojourn, so these are those disembodied souls. Excuse me. Still, it's not incorporeal, but I suppose this is they're still corporeal in terms of their physical, but then this is incorporeal is saying that they're starting to move into their spiritual sense. They're disembodied souls, but again they move away in terms of they move up in terms of their consciousness, that they're conscious of sin. They don't try not to commit it, yet not properly asking questions about what is greater than themselves. Possibly the psychical self starts to present itself at this point. The repentance is incorporeal repentant souls in Marsanes. That's his group. But these are the ones who are asking questions and starting on the journey towards ascent, if you like. I would say Seal 4 is a lot of the humanity around sojourning, not really asking questions. Follow conscience for the most part, but that's as far as it goes. And so mindfulness practices, possibly yoga as well. Just the physical aspects of yoga. And obviously there are those who are fundamentally corporeal and very physical. This would also go into what we call darker practices for me, when you move away the spiritual side, or some would say, well, you can move up the spiritual eons this way, but do it from within the darker realm of universal expression. And the self-generated ones, those who are moving towards autogenes, again, another grade of the individuals, not perfect individuals, for those who are achieving greater knowledge, have opened themselves to divine awareness and allowing information to reveal itself to them in greater and greater force. And then the autogenes is that which you achieve when you achieve moksha, or the release from incarnational life. If you go down, Sophia is the instrument from where you actually enter the lower worlds. Excuse me, I had to sneeze there. And Protophanes is the mind and first appearing one. Again, this is the second level we talked about a few times. And the third level is the final level is Calyptos. Now, above that is the Barbelo Aeon. These are the 10th seal. This is the Virgin manifestation. And the triple-powered invisible spirit, silent, unknown, the silent one, is the ultimate Godhead. But these are all aspects of the Godhead, split into three. If you like, it doesn't necessarily need to be split into three, but in this particular chapter, they create these additional aspects, and obviously these other seals as well. It's important to note because the chapter does mention them. Okay, exordium, the steadfastness and confidence of the recipients of the revelation. They found him, this is the supreme being, with pure heart, without their being afflicted by evils. Those received you will be given a choice and reward for their endurance. And they will endure the evils. But let none of us be distressed. Think in his heart. He looks upon all, he being the divine all. He has shown them his command. It is they who speak. So it's those who are achieving knowledge, going up these essential piers. Not here, but anywhere around this area. The self-generated, the repentance, are those that are seeking the ascent that this is discussing. Marsanes' vision of the nature, structure, and deployment of the all, the 13 seals, which is what we've just discussed. It's very short, this one. Word of confirmation. The 13th seal I have confirmed with the limit of knowledge, gnosis, and the certainty of rest. What this means is that Marsanes has achieved this knowing through his spiritual and metaphysical practices. He's seen these layers of levels or seals as revealed to him in his journey, of the metaphysical journey that he's on, and that is the unveiling of knowledge, which is gnosis. So this is the knowledge he's receiving, and the certainty of rest is that his certainty of him achieving the autogenes, not only just in his metaphysical or spiritual journeys, into the astral plane, if you like, but also after death. And this goes into further of the 13 seals. So, seal 1 to 3, the worldly, corporeal, and material levels. The first and the second and the third are for worldly, material. This is of this world, those who exist only in this world. So this also 1 and 3, remember, are the third, second, and first, which is the corporeal but sensible. Those who follow conscience, are about following their own conscience and ideals, and potentially being influenced by the astrological plane, but not quite in the sojourn. Okay, you should guard your bodies. A perceptible, which is the lower regions. Anything perceptible is the earth plane, a material realm. Power will conceal those who will be at rest. They will be kept from the passions and divisions of the union, with the union being the bond between the union between the heart, the spirit, the heart, the mind, and the body together. As that needs to be the Holy Trinity with the foundation of the shaft in the middle being the body. Once that's all in alignment, we ascend as a whole being. We traverse the ascent through a whole being. Seals 4 and 5, the incorporeal sojourn and repentance. So ones who have come to know as divine, concerned with what exists above, the corporeal type and nature that is divided into three. This is the three natures, could be the Calyptos, Protophanes, and Autogenes. It could be that. You were informed, and then it just breaks up. Repentance. The fifth concerns the repentance of those within it and those who sojourn in that place. Repentance, remember, is just the rediscovery of the divine. Repentance is re-embracing that which we've forgotten, ignored, dismissed, destroyed in our lives. That is what repentance really is. From this text and from my interpretation of repentance. It's not for your physical sins. Of course, you have to own the actions, words, thoughts, and consequences of what you do. And you can repent in different ways. But repentance in this, from a spiritual sense, is the revealing of God back to yourself. Seal 6, the self-generated one. Self-generated ones, being that exists individually. So these are the perfect ones. These are the ones who are almost achieving that the seal 7, the individual ones individually. So they're not quite perfect ones, they're individuals, with those who abide in the truth of the all. And autogenes is the perfect ones, and they traverse into the perfect mind, which is that they've absorbed all knowledge into themselves. Is the self-generated one, concerns self-generated power. So one is the self-generated one, which is the exists as an individual. Then you achieve autogenes, which is the power itself of perfected mind, which is really just full knowing. Who extended the fourth sojourn for salvation through Sophia. So what this is effectively saying is this point is what they call salvation. Salvation being the realization of repentance, the realization of salvation. Excuse me, I've got a tickly cough. It doesn't seem to go away. And the salvation being that we've achieved the state of release from incarnational life here, and that means we've reached a particular level of ascent where it does not require it, and this is a salvation from earthly existence, in other words. Seal 8, Protophanes, the first appearing one. So this is the next level, and this is all done in energetic body only. The 8th concerns masculine mind, as well as incorporeal substance, intelligible world. So mind is revealed, masculine mind is regarded as masculine, but the manifestation part of us is regarded as feminine. But of course, we have both aspects of energy within us, not actually from a gender perspective, from energetic frequency. And Calyptos, the hidden one, concerns the name of the power that appeared in the beginning. So this is the level we achieve from towards the actual Godhead. This is the final state. And above that, what we're seeing is the manifestation of the divine itself. So the Aeon Barbelo is supposed to exist in Seal 10, which was the only manifestation of the divine to create all that exists. And then you have the two other levels, which is the triple powered one and the invisible spirit, which is level 11 and 12. Now these are the three aspects. The three aspects of the divine are known as Barbelo, the triple powered one, and the invisible spirit. And they speak of the invisible one who possesses three powers, which is Barbelo, triple powered one, and invisible spirit. the insubstantial spirit, which means non-material, cannot be measured, cannot be formed, cannot be pointed to, belongs to the first ungenerated one. And then finally, the unknown silent one. Concerning the unknown silent one, ever the foundation of indistinguishable one. So this is the final Godhead state, which we're not to achieve, because this is the Godhead itself. It's kalyptos here, which it states that we're there to achieve, but this is to be perceived when we traverse these other levels, as these passages, the last couple of chapters have stated. Okay, Marsanes, insight into, I would say from the seals, it's good to study the seals and understand them, because regardless how we interpret these, our ascent is a coalesced, integrated, single, non-leveled gradient of ascent. So yes, we do raise our frequencies through ascents, and whether we want to explain that to ourselves through these seals, or through aeons, or through the seven heavens, or whatever it is, we can do that if that helps us understand it. But it is a seamless, coalesced journey where we just constantly are expanding, and our frequency is rising in some ways just through these levels anyway. Marsanes, insight into the nature of the incorporeal and the corporeal reality. For it is I who have contemplated that which truly exists, whether individually or as a whole. By discrimination, I knew that they pre-exist in the entire place, this is the divine world, that is eternal. Those who have not come into existence are in substance, unbegotten eons, angels, souls without guile, simple ones. Afterwards, they were mixed with those that were distinct. So this is talking about the various types of manifestation. So those who are of substance, those who are unbegotten, so unbirthed spirits, or the eons or angels, and our soul without sin, and simple ones, those who are going through the ascents. If you remember, simple ones are those that are seeking knowledge. Afterward, they were mixed with those that were distinct. So this means distinct are those that are achieving the self-generated levels and so forth above the sojourn. Entire perceptible substance still resembles insubstantial. So it's saying that regardless of the fact that this earth is mixed with those who are achieving ascent, those are close to autogenes, those who are simple ones or individuals who are achieving knowledge, those who are of substance or material, the physical, the perceptible realm still resembles an insubstantial realm, which basically means it hasn't changed, it's still material, it still has that loss and detachment from source. I have known the entire corruption as well as the latter. The latter means he knows the material corruption, but also is aware now of the divine realm. I have attained the boundary between. In every respect, the sense-perceptible world is worthy of being preserved entire. And then there's a whole passage missing. I have not ceased speaking of autogenes. So his autogenes, he's continued to pass on the messages of this particular ascent of state of ascent. But he's aware of the boundaries in between the very lower seal of 1 and the upper seal of 13. The saving descent of autogenes, the self-generated one. He, which is Christ's consciousness or substantial one, descended again from the unbegotten one, the Spirit, who exists before them all. So I think this is Barbelo who's talking about. It could be something else. Is the all and resembles the all. From a single one they are divided. I experience many things. Clear that he saved a multitude. So this could be either unbegotten of spirit. This could be the Christ here, the Christ energy. But who exists before them all could also be Barbelo, because Barbelo was a manifestation of all. But then the eon of the Christ could have also been have existed from the one too. So we can interpret that in two ways. Marsanes inquires about the aeonic realm with the triple-powered one. So the triple-powered one is Barbelo. Okay. Beyond all of these, the kingdom of the triple-powered one has no beginning. Whence did he appear and fill the entire place, the aeonic realm, with his power? What way did the ungenerated ones come into existence? And what are the differences between the eons? He's just asking questions about how did people appear? How was ignorance created? How was Barbelo created? And what are the differences between all the aeonic aspects, or the aeonic realms, or the eons themselves? Very similar to Zostrianos, if you recall, who was doing the same thing. The triple-powered one actualizes the silence of the unknown silent one. I had inquired, he acted in silence. Exists prior, a pre-existent otherness belonging to the one that actualizes the silent one. Who follows him acts, I'll explain that in a moment. Silence belongs to the unbegotten one, is among eons. He is substantial. The unbegotten one is prior to the eons, since he is insubstantial. The summit of the silent one's silence, it is possible for the summit of the triple-powered one's activity. So he's talking about a pre-existent otherness belonging to that one actualizes the silent one. So the silent one is the very the 13th seal, I believe. So the pre-existent otherness, that's the divine itself, belonging to the one that actualizes the silent one. So that means that the one that actualizes the silent one is the one that's realized the Godhead fully from within themselves and has achieved autogenes, in other words, is pre-existent. So that's what the otherness is. Who follows his acts. So this means that it will influence actions, words, thoughts, and intentions, and what we do from the henceforward. Since silence belongs to the unbegotten one, is among the eons. That is also unbegotten one. It could also be Barbelo, and also the Christ consciousness. Silence just means contemplation of the divine. He is insubstantial, which means it's the divine realm and not the physical realm. The unbegotten one is prior to the eon, since he is unsubstantial. So that basically means the eon was created by the unbegotten one, which is effectively the divine. And the summit of the silent is possible to summit triple powers one's activity. In other words, the ascent through these seals. It's effectively talking about the ascent through these seals. This is a triple powered one over here, which is the Barbelo, but it's through these three layers here. Okay. The self-manifestation of the triple-powered one. He appeared to the powers, those within me, completed. All the rest, they all bless the triple-powered one, the perfect one, first perfect one, in purity, praising the Lord. I would contemplate a power that I hold, I honor. This is talking about Barbelo. They're praising Barbelo here. Barbelo, the eon, reveals itself as the triple-powered one's third power. The triple-powered one is, the self-manifestation of the triple-powered one here, that is the first perfect one, is actually Barbelo here. But then they're praising, reveals itself as the triple-power's third power. Remember, the triple power is also, triple-powered one is the invisible spirit, triple-powered one, and Barbelo. Barbelo being the third manifestation of the divine, as per this chapter and the previous ones. The third power, Barbelo, contemplated him, said to me, be silent, lest you should know and flee, which basically means that he'll be silent or do the opposite and move away. Know that this one is silent. Concentrate on understanding. Power still keeps guiding into that eon that is Barbelo. So it's basically saying, be silent, contemplate, meditate on what's being known, what information is coming to him through his meditative practice, his metaphysical practice, his life as a spiritual mystic or a prophet. And he needs to concentrate on understanding what's coming to him, as the power just means it'll be a constant flow of divine knowing emerging within the self, and that keeps guiding him towards what it is that Barbelo being above all of the three levels of ascent. Okay, Marsanes explains the Barbelo aeons deployments from the invisible spirit. For this reason, the virgin became male. And so the virgin has a male and a female aspect, remember. So it says there's a determinate and indeterminate aspect of the Barbelo aeon. This is determinate is the male and indeterminate is a female. The male is more of the mind, and the female is the manifestation, the creative force. Knowledge stood outside of him. She who exists is she who sought. So she exists, but then she sought more knowledge from the divine itself, which manifested her. She withdrew from these two powers, so she moved away from the invisible spirit and the triple-powered one, which is the divine force, and exists outside the great one. So she's the third power, remember? Seeing what is above her, the perfect one, the triple-powered one, and it was a commandment to be silent. Silent is just contemplation and peace, and to be at rest. The Barbelo aeon describes the praise of the triple-powered one. Become silent. We came to know that he is, we came to know that he is. We bowed down, we glorified and blessed him. Conferred upon us great revelation. The entire place, this is the divine realm, was revealed, unfolded until he reached the upper region, went forth the entire place to be illuminated. So what this is saying is that Marsanes is being shown the realms, and he's being given revelation as he traverses these realms. That is what is happening here. Marsanes receives the power of the Barbelo aeon. So Marsanes has already, if you feel, is already passed through the Orthogenes, the Protophanes, and also the Calyptos realm. And this is the Barbelo is above those, and then the divine force itself, as per these seals. And so he's being shown all of this now. Marsanes receives power from the Barbelo aeon. I was given the third part of the spirit, which is the knowledge, and then it just all broken up. Through Marsanes, the Barbelo aeon urges the ascent towards the invisible spirit. O inhabitants of these places, so this material realm, it's necessary for you to contemplate those that are higher than these being those who are observing the seals of 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are, if you remember, 1, 2, 3, and 4, being these corporeal, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 almost, possibly just 4, which is the worldly and material level, and then the sojourn level, with this, starting to become aware. Okay. Higher than these, become better than ascend upward with him, that being the divine force. The elect in the last times, ascend upward with him. A radiant crown. The elect is those that move up towards ascent. A radiant crown is just knowledge, is illuminating. Illumination is basically, to be illumined is to know, is the gnosis. So Illuminati, if you know, everyone's heard of those, are those who have hidden knowledge. That's why they're called Illuminati. To be illumined, to ascend a radiant crowd is illumination, which effectively means knowledge. Everything's about becoming aware and allowing divine knowledge to arise from within you. Even the sense perceptible things that are visible to you. One who is from the beginning, who is without substance. So it's insubstantial, the divine. Sense perceptible things are those in his inner sense, not just the physical 5 senses in the material. Okay, Marsanes is ascent to the triple-powered one. So this is the next level above Barbelo. So he's actually being shown this, but I don't think it actually goes all the way up. I'm not sure. This is a spiritual experience in some kind of meditative astral. Dwelling among the aeons that were generated, I came to be among those that were unbegotten. So it's talking about moving into the great aeon of Barbelo and then up. I was separate from it. I saw 3 powers. seal 11, 12, and 13. Remember, 11 being Barbelo, 12 being the triple powered one, 13 being the invisible spirit itself, the silent one. And the Marsanes sees the supreme deity. I saw the great unknowable power, which is seal 13, the unknown silent one. Why is there no knowledge among, and he asks more questions, why is there no knowledge among the ignorant? Is it necessary that everyone who is without image be like those of a single one that exists before them all, though that pre-exists, and so forth? So from this point forward, all the passages become very broken, apart from those about vowels and so forth, which I'll explain. The need to know the nomenclature of cosmic powers and the soul. So this is an interesting start to a different section. This talks about vowels, consonants, words, and sounds. And I'll explain why it does that. It talks about the Greek alphabet and how that's used to delineate. It uses it as a metaphor to delineate levels and explain metaphysical concepts and all. And also, it does indicate how hymns are created and why we have all these sounds within hymns that don't necessarily sound like words, but they are a mixture of vowels, consonants in certain sequences that give frequency to a word or to a sound to draw in different energies. And I'll explain what I mean when I move further through this. The need to know the nomenclature of the cosmic powers of the soul. Nomenclature is the naming, if you like, of powers, the categorization and naming of powers. After many years, I was the Father. I came to know him, a deity, and it's just a broken passage. So it's basically saying after many years of practice, he became to know the divine force better. The blessed authority's instruction on preparing the soul. The blessed authority said to me, among these may she who does not have it receive no glory, for there is no glory. That pretty much saying is those who are not receiving glory are because of those who are not choosing to move towards divine knowledge and ascent. Okay, so the configurations and power of the zodiacal signs. So this kind of talks about the zodiac being used at the time, or the planets being used as also symbolic of movement through the planets, movement through zodiac signs. They have meaning to them, but also talks about the zodiac signs being singular or being joined, like Gemini, the two twins, and things like that. It's a little bit from here onwards. It gets very difficult to follow because it's broken up and it uses too much metaphor to describe something. So it sounds very complex actually, and I'll try to explain what they're trying to say. But the passages are very broken actually from this point forward, quite a lot. The zodiacal signs, revolution, soul, namely the celestial soul. It is necessary that all the forms become configurations so that a form may be assigned to the elements themselves, including the smooth and the rough. The smooth means articulate. In this case, it's a metaphor for those who can articulate spiritual knowing. The rough are inarticulate, which means those who cannot express divine knowing. Their powers, which are angels in the form of beasts and animals, some astrological signs, some polymorphous. They have sounds adapted to their names. They are distinct, different in appearance, and biformed. What this is talking about is he's saying that some astrological signs he's talking about the beasts and animals. So some astrological signs have animals, or what we call them days beasts. The bull is Taurus, the scorpion is Scorpio, and so forth. When we have biformed ones, which are Gemini with the two twins and so forth. So it's talking about astrological signs, but then the whole passage is broken up and we don't understand really why they're talking about these signs. And then we start talking about the alphabet and the configuration of the soul. So this is where it starts to get even more complex. The soul, and I'm going to have to say, I believe it's way too complicated for what it is. It doesn't need to be so complicated. it does have a very simplistic message behind the next 4 or 5 passages, and I'll explain why. The soul and its configuration. The soul too has its configurations. It's diverse in its form that the configuration of the only begotten soul resides. So the configuration is interesting. We all have a divine aspect of our soul, but we are obviously unique in our being. And we can go towards a negative state or a positive state, and we can go through these seals of ascent, which are very diverse. And we have a diverse gradient of soul expression around us, with all the 7.x billion humans on the planet. So that's what this would say, but it also talks about configuration, which is where we drop into the alphabet, the use of the alphabet. Let's move on to the next passage. Vowels and diphthongs. Now, diphthongs is a very weird word, but it just basically means it's the sound of 2 vowels together. When you pronounce the vowels together, it makes a sound. And so this is talking about the vowels and the joining of them. The first and second configurations of the soul. So this is talking about when you put vowels together, they make sounds. When you make sounds, they have a particular frequency. If you put more vowels together, they have even a different sound, which again is a different frequency. And what this is saying is, if you put all the vowels together in the alphabet, in different configurations, you have different configurations of frequency, and therefore you have different configurations of soul, of soul expression. So some of us can be very enlightened beings, or old souls that are achieving different grades of ascent. Other ones can be very lost, very physical beings, all the whole spectrum, if you like. And what this is talking about is using vowels as a metaphor to describe how the configuration of a soul can be different and diverse. Just by saying, well, if you mix different vowels together and so this is a E-I-O, so if you're gonna, this whole passage has many, many different variations of vowels mixed together, and you're supposed to sing them. Now, and it causes different sounds. So let's see here. The second configuration of this derives from these having 2 sounds. First, that suffixes them is the upsilon, which is the 12th letter of the Greek alphabet. It is its composition. There are the ones you know in the radiance of the light. Control yourselves, receive the imperishable seed, not be attached to your possessions. We understand what those things mean, but what it's trying to say here is that when you mix vowels together, depending on their configuration, they'll have different frequency and there'll be very diverse sounds. The same is a metaphor for the differences and diversity of soul expression, spiritual expression or not, within us. And it continues to do this as we go through. So it talks about vowels here and tones and accents. So he's talking about tones. So now know that the long vowels, which are regarded as elevated, so these are vowels that when you put together have long sound, and the diphthongs beside them, so those with 2 vowels next to each other, which are called short sounds. And it's saying the short ones are deficient and the long sounds are not. So the long vowels are regarded as elevated, as the other sounds that originate through them. So again, it's referring to the alphabet and how you pronounce them. If you put vowels together, what the sounds sound like. If they're long, then it's regarded as elevated. Diphthongs as 2 together is regarded as not elevated. It's just metaphors for states of soul expression. And again, consonants and their combinations. Among the consonants and semivowels are superior to the voiceless. As for those that are intermediate, so these are letters, which are their combinations are many. They are ignorant of good combinations. In the case of nomenclature for the gods and the angels, it is not that the consonants are combined with each other indiscriminately. They are combined so as to have a beneficial effect. It just didn't happen that their intent was apparent. So again, this is talking about the mix of consonants and and vowels and other combinations to create combinations of soul, and again the same different thing. It's saying that and also the earth is a mix of combinations of soul expression. And it's saying that this isn't just an accident or an indiscriminate act. It didn't just happen. The intent was apparent. So the intent isn't that the divine put different souls on this earth. It's just that we're all ascending at different rates. We're all performing an ascent, and some are not performing any form of ascent. And therefore, it is our own intention that's creating the what we'd call the diversity in combination. Again, it's using the alphabet to very complicatedly express this simple concept. So vowels and the second, third configurations of the soul, and it goes through many combinations. I'm not going to read those out. Now, one thing we should remember here is that if you look at these, and if you did want to read these out, and they are heavily, there's a lot of them in this chapter. A lot of hymns and singing from a choir in the church often sound like they're just singing vowels, or they're singing a long series of vowels together and making a sound. Now, this could be another reason why songs from choirs who don't sound like words but sound like different sounds are created this way. And it's to create frequency within the church to address what's known as here. If you put different configurations of sound, not only is it's talking about the gradients of our soul's expression, but it's also talking about different sounds can also relate to different aeon frequencies as well. So maybe that's also a consideration for these hymns in churches, and that are more sound orientated, to draw in divine frequency into the church and create that divine frequency through that sound and pitch and tone. So I understand where this is going, but it's overly complicated in my view. Vowel combinations and the fourth and the fifth configurations of the soul. Fourth and fifth, not everything was allowed to be revealed. You were taught about them. So he's talking to Marsanes is talking to his group, or rather, and Barbelo is talking to Marsanes as well about what he's being taught through this spiritual metaphysical journey he's on. You should contemplate them in order that they too might seek and find that they all are. Seek to reveal limits set from the beginning, just as let us coexist with each other in speech. So effectively, he's asking them to continue the journey and go past the limits of the mind and indoctrination, and seal 1, 2, and 3, and 4 physical experience, which is we experienced at the beginning of material life, and continue to go in and speak those words to others. Okay, this is you'll see the words here. You see, this is what I was trying to explain. That these are different gigahertz. I'll explain this in a moment. Consonant vowel combinations, and the chapter's called syllables. The consonants exist with the words, with the vowels, constitute nomenclature, which again categorization and naming for the angels, which is frequency and sound, the sound and pitch of something. Prefixed and are suffixed to the hidden gods means of beat and pitch. This is what I was describing earlier. All of the previous very complex passages we've just gone through is simply talking about using alphabets and the joining of words or the vowels when they are spoken. They have pitch and beat, which can have high frequency sound, which can be, in this case, they're talking about relating that sound to aeons or angels or divine beings, but also talking about the diverse way in which you can combine a vowel or a consonant, different letters of the alphabet into combinations, which is a metaphor for the different combinations of soul expression that exist around us as well. Now, pitch is interesting. You will have heard of the Schumann resonance, which is basically a lower frequency, one of the lower frequency measurements of the Earth's electromagnetic field. because it hums. It has a frequency of its own. Some people meditate to that frequency. These are also pitches and beats of sound that can be created, and what this is talking about is creating that sound through the mix of vowels, through the mix of consonants, through the mix of letters together to make these sounds. And here's an example of some of these combinations, and they're there because I think they sing these combinations out to create a sound. And obviously there are others, such as the waves, the delta, theta, alpha, and beta waves of our brain. So we can, in meditative practice, you can go in from beta wave up to theta wave. I think remote viewers go into theta, and there's delta waves, and these are hertz frequencies that are different bands, as I've named here. So this is the same kind of thing. What they're talking about here is achieving frequencies to draw in different aspects of either aeonic frequencies, or also talking about combinations of soul expression. Arithmology, the dyad, which is two parts, which is male and female, the monad, which is a single, do not resemble anything. They are principles. That's right. They're just principles of things, descriptions. The dyad constitutes division. The mond belongs to the hypostasis, which is reality substance. The tetrad, which is the four, receive the elements. Pentad, which is five, receive concord, which is harmony. Hexad protects itself, and then it goes on. These are just these are concepts, right? These are names for things of the universe. Remember this. There's many. I think the eons for me are the same thing. I don't think they exist. I think they're metaphors. I think they're archetypes. To explain aspects of the universe, aspects of creation and divine knowledge, split up so our minds can understand it. Syllables and nouns, and again it goes into this again. Articulation marks begin to separate them means of a sign. Uninflected, which is upright, and inflected again, it's talking about the uninflected signs, symbols and nouns, and inflected. Uninflected means upright, which means upright is talking about those who are of the sojourn and beyond. So also are the images of being. So they are the images of being are ourselves. Our image is that which we're expressing. Is it an uninflected image, that which is upright, or is it an inflected image, that which is crouched? They derive from the joining of the letters in the holy union according to juxtaposition, which is basically means two things next to each other, but yet they are separate, where they exist independently, exist with each other by generation. As in the sense-perceptible world, there exists the temple. For the rest I will teach you. It's very broken up again, this chapter. Okay, and this is the final slide. Words. There exists quiet discourse, and there exists another. So there is discourse, and there is also the disharmony. There's free association. It manifests the difference between the same and the different, which is basically the soul. Those that are of the same, which is of our spirit, those who are not. Whole and part of an indivisible substance. Power has a share in joy, discord in unity. It is possible to know that the things that exist everywhere are honoured, corporeal and incorporeal ones. These are those of the spirit and those of the body. There are words which are dual and other exist, and others that exist separately. It's just talking about the joining of words again. Being worthy of the safeguarding the revelation. So he's talking about the previous passage. For these reasons we have acquired sufficiency. Each one acquire power for himself. Never heap scorn on the mysteries. Signs of the zodiac. So again, these are separated. So it's talking about, again, signs of the zodiac, but it's so broken you can't understand why it's saying the signs of the zodiac. It's clear they're using astrology, the planets, as well as what we could call the atmospheric realms, as moving through the planets. The reward that will be provided for such a one is salvation. Opposite will happen for the one who commits sin. It says ponder them, which is contemplate. Examine what one might convey to another. So how would you pass on that message to another? Do not desire to empower the sense-perceptible world by not attending to me. the one who have received the salvation that comes from the intelligible world. As for these discourses, beware you are divulging them to anyone. Sinful divulge to others, and do not understand them. Embodied souls upon the earth. So this is talking about those who are very physical beings. Those outside the body who are in heaven, more numerous than angels. So that's the end of this this particular chapter. It does go in a few places. It's very difficult to follow, particularly when it goes into its words, when it goes into syllables, when it goes into nouns, when it goes into vowels, when it goes into consonants and pitches and sounds, which is really just talking about the variation of soul expression, and also that sounds of frequency. Frequency can map to different levels of eonic ascent and so forth. Excuse me. And so it's a very, very complicated way of going about it, actually. And then the last passage is just him talking to his group, or it could be the eons talking to him. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I know it went all over the place. It was a little bit complicated. It felt like Zostrianos as a chapter for me, and which is long, protracted, and kept repeating itself. And this was similar, but in a different way, that it was overly complicating a message that could have been said in a much simpler way, which I hope I've shared with you today. And remember, the second coming is you. Please become that second coming by moving yourself to your own consciousness. Consciousness is moving towards the divine. Divine waits for us to achieve that 13th ascent, if you like, which we talked about before, and become what we seek. Remember the ascents at the very beginning of this. You know, we're looking to get into the self-generated, which is the individual looking to seek spiritual perfection that can be achieved in bodily form. And this is what's called the self-generated. Those that are seeking, the repentance is that which you are embarking upon and knowing that there's something more. The sojourn is someone who's in physical form but is aware of their conscience and is falling with it, but still is very physical. And the third levels are going into more physical blindness or loss of spirit. But we're all achieving autogenes ultimately, which is the release of physical form, in other words. And then the rest of it is an energetic form expression of growth. So that's what it's trying to say, which is basically the second coming, in other words. And again, there's the book here, if for those who are interested. It does have a lot of information in there. I may offer the ebook for free for a small short period, but I'm not sure when that will happen. But that's it's on ebook. It's pretty cost efficient way of doing that if you don't like books. And again, contact me for any topics you'd like me to cover, and what you'd like me to cover after this, because we're not far away from finishing the Nag Hammadi text. So look forward to hearing any suggestions you may have, which either way. So say thank you for joining me today, and I really appreciate your time. And keep well until next time, and God bless to you all. Thank you very much.